So here we go again. So this page here, this story we're going to read today is from theweek.com, and it's titled "The End of Google as We Know It: Why the where the search giant wants us to Google less." And it came out a couple of days, no, yesterday actually. And the author is Chaz Newkey-Burden. And this is the UK edition. I believe this is sort of published in numerous countries around the world, and this particular one is aimed at the UK. Okay, let's scroll down. So this is obviously the symbol which we often this is the search bar, isn't it? So you would tap in here normally and click the search button, and it would
Yeah,
bring up the
yeah.
results. But they've got it all cracked and decrepit and falling to bits, because it's titled, of course, "The End of Google as We Know It." So I've not really read the article. I did look at it quickly, but I've not once I've read it. What do you think this is going to be about? Any
Mm,
idea?
to my mind, it should be about new technology
Yeah,
like AI.
yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. Hmm. So it's come out yesterday, so it's right at the cutting edge, let's say. So so the photo is from Malte, Mueller and Getty Images. And the title they sort of have for for this diagram or cartoon, it says the changes will likely further decimate Google referrals to publishers which rely on web traffic. So this is something this thing here has been something that's been going on for months now, and it's pretty much related to AI. But do you understand what they're getting at here? Have you seen this sort of message before? Do you think could you explain this bit back to me? Do you think, Ruslan?
actually, yeah, because I'm a bit confused.
So let me read it again. I read it slowly.
Okay.
So it says the changes will to Google presumably. So the changes will likely further decimate Google referrals to publishers which rely on web traffic. Do you,
Mm,
I'm I'm
it's
guessing this thing here sort of sums up pretty much the whole article that we're going to read. So hopefully this whole article explains that one sentence there. But do you think you
yeah,
have an idea what it's saying? Could you
yeah.
explain it a little
Mm,
bit?
I understand.
Hmm.
It is about damaging, yeah, the Google.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be in a future, yeah, that Google won't exist anymore, I guess so, yeah, from it. Yeah, but about the last one, which rely on web traffic, I'm not sure at all.
Okay. Okay. So if we go back to the top again, up here it says the end of Google. So when we say the end of Google, whoops, it sounds like maybe it's dying or something, or it's going to not exist in a matter of months or a year or two or something. When you say that,
Yeah,
but it then sort of adds another comment just after that, as we know
mhm,
it. So Google is coming to an end in its
yeah,
present form. So its present form, the way we see it now, is sort of ending, and a new Google of some sort will appear at some point in the future. So it doesn't mean Google is just going to die away and never be seen again. It's saying the present Google that we know now, that one's dying and something else is going to replace it. But Google with, more AI or something, that's what it's going to be, I imagine. Does that make sense?
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Because I
okay.
think when you read what you just said previously seems to you sort of missed a little bit of this point here. And I think maybe they've written this way. This is almost a little bit like clickbait in a way, isn't it? This sort of title here. So at the end of Google, wow, yeah, what's happened
Mm.
to Google? Has it crashed? Is it going to die? But the
Uh-huh.
point is as we know it. So as we know it now, that's not going to be in existence in the future. That's what it's really saying. So if we scroll down to this little bit here again, then. So have that in your mind, and this sort of backs that up. It doesn't sort of go against what we've just said. It backs it up. So okay, I'll read this now then. So the changes. So some Google is changing in some way. We don't know quite what that is, but let's guess that it's AI. So the changes will likely further decimate. So when something
Okay.
gets decimated, you could say it's being damaged. And normally, when we say decimated, it means really badly damaged, normally, when we
Okay.
use that phrase there. But what's being damaged? But then the next word is actually Google. So you might think, oh, Google is being damaged, but not, no, it isn't. What it's saying is, so the changes will likely further decimate Google's referrals to publishers. So basically, it's actually the publishers that are going to be damaged. These are the guys who are going to be decimated, not Google.
Okay.
Makes sense. Because this word here, referrals, is what happens on the internet. So when I search something on Google, a whole series of results come up, and then I might
Okay.
click on two or three of them, and some each of those results are published by some other website. It might be the BBC, it might be something in America, it might be something in Africa or in Australia, and I visit those other websites to get more information. Does that make sense? Not
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But and as we know, I mean, I'm sure you've come across this when you search something in the last few months or this year probably. Google has, and other ones, other search engines too. They have the AI summary at the top, don't they? The AI summary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But
And
it's
when we,
with
yeah,
help AI, I guess so. It's come with help with AI.
mm,
For example, when I type in
yeah,
search in
mm,
search box of
mm,
Google what I want, and I press a button. I press search. Yeah, then
mm,
uh, appear page, and on the top there is
mm,
a comments from AI, and AI gives me explanation about it in general, and
mm,
and below of it of explanation we have a link for the website,
mm,
for the websites. Yeah, because there is no one link.
yeah. Yeah, yes, I understand what you're saying. So I just tapped in the word decimate, and it's immediately assumed. This is Bing, I should say. So this is the Microsoft's version, and it's come up with how to pronounce the word, then sort of or pronounce here, I should say. Then it's come up with sort of translations, etc. But and then we have below it the links that we can click on, and then there are other possible questions.
Yeah, yeah, there are the
So, but
possible
maybe
questions.
if I just wanted the pronunciation, I could probably
Okay.
click here or something. I presume it would work. But I wouldn't, as a result of being put in the art, sort of all the possible answers here, not all, but several of the possibilities here, I probably won't click on this link below. So
Yeah,
to the
actually,
dictionary. So,
it is true because,
mm,
for example, first of all, you will get the main information about it in a very easy way, and you don't need
yeah,
to come across through the some link and to
yeah,
spend more time.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So they've Bing has had a good guess that this is going to give them the answer up here, and yeah. it does give me the answer. They should give me the definition as well. Would
Okay,
be useful.
and
But the
probably
guy, but
that's
the
what.
guys below it, these
Yeah,
guys down here, these are the referrals. We mentioned about
yeah,
referrals.
yeah, 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 yeah.
These are the
Google
referral
refers,
guys.
yeah, to published, yeah,
Yeah, these are the other publishers like this. These guys here. So Cambridge Dictionary is a referral,
yeah. But
Wiktionary,
Tony,
Collins. Yeah,
I would say without this is publishing, yeah, the AI can't exist because if
yeah,
they gone, yeah,
yeah.
from where AI will
Mm,
gather information.
yeah,
So
exactly.
absolutely,
So
yeah,
Bing and others rely on the people publishing the answers
yeah,
effectively. Yeah, you could say absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So just to go back over it again. So this is the AI guessing the answer to my question, and it's a pretty good guess. And down below are the referrals, down below here. These are the other publishers. So when we go back, this is the other publishers or the referrals that we're just talking about. Okay. And it's saying, but these other publishers, they rely on us clicking on those links. That's what this last part is saying here. Does that make sense? Hopefully. So which rely on web traffic, which is us
yeah,
clicking on those other links. So I'll just read it again then, and hopefully it'll make better sense. So the changes, whatever they are, so the changes will likely further decimate Google referrals to publishers which rely on web traffic.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
that's that bit there. That makes sense, hopefully. So, and this I can see here straight away it says a new era for search, new era. So this is like the new way they want search to work. This is the new thing that's replacing the old thing, whatever it is. I have to read about it now. Okay, so do you fancy reading? Do you fancy
yeah.
reading
Okay,
this chunk here? And I could read
okay,
another bit maybe.
okay.
Okay, over to you then.
Mm. Google has become so synonymous with online search that its name has evolved into a verb in its own right. Now the company is attempt, attempting to revamp its decades-old business model to fit the era of artificial intelligence, said CNN. In a sense, Google wants to help you Google less. New era for a search. Although Google already offers AI model, it will it will now integrate the technology across the entire search experience through its new Gemini 3.5 Flash model. Rather than simply type in keywords or short phrases, users will be able to ask con- conversational questions, share images, or voice commanders with agentic AI and even interact through live video. Instead of generating only the only the familiar list of blue links, Google Search will give a customized AI written summary of the topic being researched. This will then one of conversation with AI model directly on the main search page, allowing allowing users to ask follow-up questions more naturally.
Hmm. Yeah, that was good.
Eh, Yeah.
So, anything you want to ask about? Anything that struck you as odd or whatever?
Uh, Tony, if you don't mind, can you read it again? Yeah, and
Okay, let me
then,
read it. Yeah.
yeah,
So I'll go from the top down here.
yeah.
So Google has become so synonymous with online search that its name has evolved into a verb in its own right. Now, the company is attempting to revamp its decades-old business model to fit the era of artificial intelligence, said CNN. In essence, Google wants to help you Google less. Ha ha ha, very funny. So anything about that little bit there that I've just read?
Yeah, yeah, about it. So synonymous
Mm.
became so synonymous.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
a bit complicated for me.
Okay. So this is sometimes I use the word synonym, don't I? Sometimes. So
Yeah,
when two words are basically had the same, pretty much the same meaning, you can say that that word is a synonym of the other one. So,
it's actually like
mm,
something very similar, and we can
yes,
replace, for example, this for it. Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
Yes. When two words are basically have the
Okay.
same, pretty much exactly the same meaning, that's a synonym.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
And
Mm,
so this is just has an extra, has another ending on the end of it to make it fit in with the other words around it. So synonymous. And you pronounce it quite well. Yeah, synonymous. That's it. So what it's saying
synonym.
is the word Google is sort of like a synonym or synonymous with the idea of search. That's what it's saying. That's all
Yeah.
it's saying.
Yeah.
And it
Okay.
is, of course. And in fact, it's saying that the word Google has now turned into a verb.
Verb.
Because obviously Google, not obviously, but Google, the word Google is basically a noun, the name of something or a company. But now we course say, now we just simply say, oh, just Google it, but
That's
meaning
why.
just
That's why
search
it's
it.
like a verb. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay.
the synonym really is Google and search are synonyms
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
as a verbs. Yeah, that's what it's really saying that line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And is
Yeah.
attempting. Yeah. It's like a attempt.
Mm.
Yeah. Attempt to do something.
Yeah, trying.
Trying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Trying
the
to.
company is trying to do something. So, any idea what the word revamp means? Revamp?
Mm, No. Actually, no.
So when we say re something, what does the re bit
Yeah.
often mean?
It's actually like doing something again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Do again. That's it. You've got it, really. So, so basically, basically the whole word means they're trying to renew or start it, not start again, but renew is probably the best way. So renew its decades old business model because really Googling hasn't really changed in 20 years, I suppose, Googling.
Mhm.
So they're just sort of upgrading it to obviously the AI way it will work, the way they want it to work with AI.
And I guess in this way they
Mm.
make access more easier for the people, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, for example, it will make people a bit more stupid, I guess, because they they
Yeah.
they will be completely lazy, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
For example, do something, some research I need to by myself. Yeah,
Mm,
just search one link, second link to read here, to read there, and
yeah.
gather it in one text. Yeah, and for
Hmm.
example, present. But when I have AI, yeah, I don't need it to do it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. It, so there's benefits, but there's we lose something at the same time too, basically. Yeah, there are benefits, but we're losing something too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so.
Maybe as long as we're aware of what the problems are and we try to keep that in mind, maybe it won't be quite so bad. Maybe.
You mean like,
Well, you said is making us stupid, and yeah, I
yeah,
think there's a problem. There is a problem. You're right. But if we're aware that is happening, hopefully people will say, "Oh, I need to be more careful that Google
yeah.
isn't going to make me stupid." So I need, and sometimes I need to research it myself rather than just read what AI comes up with, maybe, or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
else, maybe listen to what other people say, or who
yeah.
knows?
Actually, I might. It should be like you said. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So let me. Does, does this bit all make sense now? Would you say this bit at the
yeah,
top?
yeah.
Okay.
This one, yeah, is okay.
Yeah. So I'll read this next chunk here, perhaps. Here we go. So new era for search. Although Google already offers AI mode, it will now integrate the technology across the entire search experience through its new Gemini 3.5 Flash model. Rather than simply typing keywords or short phrases, users will be able to ask conversational questions, share images or voice commands with Agenic AI, and even interact through live video. Wow, that last bit's amazing. So,
But
anything there?
uh, I would like, yeah,
Hmm.
to ask you about pronunciation of
Okay.
integrate. Yeah,
Yeah,
integrate,
that's it. Integrate. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
integrate. Yeah.
It's almost
Okay.
as if there's an R about there, integrate, but we don't sort of say. Let's pop it into the dictionary. So let's stick that in the dictionary somewhere. Let's find a dictionary. Let's
Because
hope it
there is
works.
a similar one is intrigued, intrigued, yeah,
Intrigue. Yeah, that's another word.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's and that one integrate,
Integrate.
yeah,
Integrate.
okay,
So if someone integrates into a social group, he is integrate. He is integrated, or he is in, or is integrated into it. They become in such a way, so they behave in such a way that they become part of the group or are accepted by it or into it, I should say. I keep misreading it.
integrate.
So just becoming one with something else, the two joining
Yeah,
together. So
I would say it's like get used to it. Yeah, for example, if I'm foreigner
yeah,
in
that's a
this
big part of
country,
it. Yeah.
yeah, after 5 years probably I will be familiar
Mm,
with the culture, with the people, and with yeah, with
mm,
the rest.
mm. Yeah, there's similar meanings, similar ideas. There are a little bit, there are some differences though.
Oh,
So yeah, no, I'm not that far apart. So maybe let me just read a couple of these examples. Maybe this middle one. I haven't read this one yet. So the way Swedes or Swedish people, the way Swedes integrate immigrants is she feels 100% more advanced. Hmm, strange put. So is integrating is the act of bringing people together, you could say, if it's people. If we're talking about people, it's the act of bringing people together and making them feel as one.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
integrate.
that's the meaning of doing this thing. But there is, yeah, it says other meanings of the word too. Let's quickly flick down and see if there are any. So here we go. So synonyms are synonyms again. So unified, making them one is unified, isn't it? United, combined. That's a good way of putting it. Leagued, leagued. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure what they mean by that. I'm sure that probably they're right and I'm wrong. But
Mm,
combining, mixing, blending, harmony. Yeah, harmony is quite good. I like that harmony. Um, So when races, oh, this is good. This is interesting, right? So when races, so different races like Eskimos and
yeah,
I don't know,
and
African people
yeah,
maybe or
yeah, I
whatever. So
understand.
when
Yeah.
races integrate, or when schools and organizations are integrated, people who are black or belong to ethnic minorities can join white people in their schools and organizations. So in America, they had a process called integration, and the it says here US, doesn't it? So America.
Um,
So schools came to us because they wanted to integrate. They wanted to integrate the different races that were in the area, I suppose. So there's a few different meanings here, but they all roughly mean the same idea behind them: uniting, joining people together, joining things together. There's a mathematical meaning to integrate as well, but we're not doing maths today, mathematics.
yeah,
Thank goodness.
okay.
So that's integrate. Did you want to say it a couple more times? Practice. So integrate.
Integrate,
Perfect. Yeah.
integrate,
Yeah, that's it. That's good. Integrate.
integrate. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and and yeah, interact, interact. Did I say it
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that's pretty
Interact.
good. Interact. Yes, interact. Yeah.
It's like
Hmm.
make people keen on something.
So I'm interacting with you now. We're interacting between the two of us. So
It's like
you're,
communication. It's
yeah,
like a,
yeah.
ah,
But it could be physical as well as just verbal or over the internet, which is why they then say interact through live video. So you might point at something in the video and you know what I'm pointing at. Oh yeah, that's the television you're pointing at, or that's a curtain or something. Yeah, so interaction.
mm,
Yeah. So you might say social interaction, which means some people. Of course, that's what we're doing at the weekend. If you can make it, I don't know if you can with this weekend, was doing that walk, of course. You can call that
yeah,
social interaction. That's one of the reasons we do this walk. So it's a chance for people to meet other people, get new friends, to chat, and sort of, in a sense, you could, without interaction, you're
yeah,
probably never going to get integration. So you could say
yeah,
integration and interacting come together at the same. The sort of one relates on, but one needs the other one, I should say, for them to happen.
yeah. Okay, because I thought it's a bit.
Hmm.
I thought about different meaning of this
Oh yeah.
word.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's really any sort of dealings between people.
dealing between
So
people.
it might be writing a letter to someone. You could sort of call that interactions. In a shop, when you buy something, that's an interaction. So something is happening between two different people. It's buying, a packet of sweets or something, or
Yeah,
buying a laptop. That's an interaction with other people. So it's with other people, but of course here it's with AI. So it's a something pretending to be a person or thinks it's a
yeah,
person.
yeah. In my mind, it was like encouraging, encouraging
Yeah,
like this. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I can see, I can understand why, I think, yes. But there's a word here I've never seen before. Agentic. Agentic.
Agentic.
Have you come across the word?
Yeah, it's actually like a
Yeah.
polite behavior, very,
Mm.
very high qualif qualific qualified. Yeah,
Yeah. High quality behavior.
yeah, high quality behavior.
Okay.
I guess so.
Well, let's see if the dictionary is knows. Well, it does actually. So they've got a slightly different meaning. So
Um,
in British English, agentic. So it says adjective able to act independently. That's what it means. Able to act independently. So the reason for that is it's based on the word agent. It basically comes from the word agent. Agentic.
okay.
Yeah. So I think you saw gent, didn't you? Gent.
Yeah,
So
don't.
yeah, so that is it's a bit tricky. It's very tricky, isn't it? It can be quite tricky. And I would say this is quite a new word, and it only really relates to AI, I would say. Yeah, so look, agent with AI, I'm sorry, with IC stuck on the end, able to act or make decisions independently, which is basically what
Independent.
AI is, isn't it? It's trying to make it make decisions independently, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah. Actually, yeah.
AI.
I watched the movie about the AI, yeah,
Mm.
and AI became like a court because it works independently
Oh, right.
in
Ah, so AI became like a
in a movie.
court.
Yeah, like a court, yeah, in a real life, in the future, because it
Mm.
actually works independently, but there
Mm.
was that it can make mistake as well,
Mm.
and
So what was
yeah,
the court? Was it like making decisions about people's lives, was it? I think you
yes,
mentioned this
for
before, actually. Yeah, go on.
yeah, I told you a
Mm.
bit about it. Yeah, for
Mm.
example,
Mm.
someone committed the crime, yeah,
Okay.
and.
So they went to court.
Yeah, they went to court, yeah, but
Mm.
court was created by human and it works wholly with AI
Is that
independently.
holy? Is that holy with AI?
Uh, Wholly, yeah, totally, yeah,
Holy, yeah.
wholly,
Totally, yeah, go on, yeah.
yeah, and there is was everything very innovation, you know that
Innovation.
innovation, yeah,
Yeah. So
it can
new, yeah.
actually check every camera, check
Oh,
your
yeah.
phone, know it
Mm.
can knows about you everything, and if you want to lie, it's actually show you evidence
Mm.
against your line, you know, like
Or
this, and
lie. Yeah, lie.
yeah, your
Yeah,
lie,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. So it'll prove you wrong in court right there and then, sort of thing. That's really
Yeah,
worrying. Yeah, you did mention that. Yeah, that is quite
yeah,
a bit
right.
disturbing, really. But
Yeah,
okay,
like
so
this.
that's agentic. I assume that's how it's pronounced. There's no advice, or there is actually agentic. Yeah, I think that says agentic there. Yes, there we go. Okay, so agentic. Any other words in this little bit
Mm.
here, or ideas or pronunciations?
Commands is okay, yeah. Commands.
Yeah, commands. I think when you read it out, you said command. I think you said commanders. So you
Ah,
put an ER in there. No, I make mistakes all the time. I'm not
mm,
criticizing, just saying. So yeah, commands. That's right, commands. So voice commands here. Wow.
voice commands.
And
Mm,
I think when you got to this word here, which we don't really have this, we don't use this word very often, but
yeah.
being that it's a name of an AI engine, I think, isn't it? An LLM engine, I think, isn't it? A large language model engine. So this is Gemini. It's pronounced Gemini.
Ah, Gemini. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good pronunciation.
Gemini.
Yes. So there's a star sign called Gemini. There's Virgo, Leo. and Gemini is one of the star signs of the zodiac.
Ah, okay, okay.
Anything else here in a little bit?
Yeah, actually, not really. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah. Um, I think you with this word here, I think we had two throughs in this. There's one there and there's one there. And I think both times when you said it, you got the T. I think the TH was really quite good. And I think what's happening is you're concentrating on the TH,
Yes.
and then you're sort of not getting the rest of the word quite right as a result, because you're so concentrated on the first bit. But no, it's good. You're making it's really good. You're getting that bit. So don't fall into the trap of getting one bit right, then the next bit wrong. So maybe we'll do this little word. Tell you what, we'll do this other word down here because this little bit here is just a half a sentence on its own, isn't it? So
Yeah,
so this is about AI, and it
yeah,
says so it's got the word through. So and even interact through live video. So there's just a little bit there of
yeah.
practice. So I'll say it once more, then it's your go. And the words through and even interact through live video. So your go.
Mm. And even interact through live video.
Yeah. And maybe once more. That was good. Once more.
And even interact through live video.
Yeah, that's good. Good. Your first one was probably the best one, but that was they were both good. They were both good. That's good. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, thanks.
Okay, that's good. Okay. So let me read this little bit
Okay.
and ask any questions. So instead of generating only the familiar list of blue links, Google search will give a customized AI written summary of the topic being researched. This will then open a conversation with AI mode directly on the main search page, allowing users to ask follow-up questions more naturally. So anything there?
Yeah, about meaning, I would say
Hmm.
it's a bit complicated, a bit.
Okay. So instead, so it's not
Yeah.
it's stopping doing one thing and it's being replaced by another is what instead basically implies. So instead of generating the familiar list of blue links, so when it says that, it's really referring to, if I go back to this page, so instead of making this bit here, lots of blue links, that's a blue link, that's a
Okay.
blue link,
Okay.
these are all the blue links. It's
Yeah. Okay.
saying Google search will give a customized
Mm.
AI written summary of the topic being researched. So this particular page, if I go back again, isn't a particularly good example. It seems to be saying there won't be any blue links, I think it's saying, and there would just be this bit at the top, assuming this is an AI summary up here. So this, let's call this an AI summary,
Uh,
and they're saying
okay.
that's the only bit you were going to see. Unless I misread it. If I go back again, perhaps I misread it. So Google search will give a customized, when it says customized, I suppose it must know a little bit about us, me and you, and think, okay, this guy is always researching words, complicated words. Let's say that's me. And so it knows I'm always looking at strange words. And so maybe it will realize that I'm interested in where these words come from, maybe, or how they're pronounced, rather than sort of tell me something deeper about something else about the word, which I might not be interested in. So when it's customized, it means it's written for you personally. That's how I take it. So it knows
Mm.
that. So obviously Google knows things about you, and it knows things about me. It will use that information to write up its little summary when I search a word or a phrase or something. And obviously AI is going to do it.
Do you want to say, Tony, for example, if you search the same word which I search as well, we will have different information or
Well, that's the my understanding of customized would say yes. So if something's customized, it means they're thinking about you when they
mm,
make the results. So when I go for a meal in a cafe, when I go there, they always give me a coffee first, and then 10 minutes later the meal comes, and I don't have to say anything. It just happens like that. So they're
yeah.
customizing that for me. But there's another customer
Mhm.
there, and he gets it the other way around. So his customized experience is that the meal comes first, and then after he's finished the meal, then comes the coffee. So that's his customized
Okay.
experience in the shop,
Yeah.
and mine is different from his. And so in some
Mm,
way, AI is going to know that. So
yeah.
maybe I always ask the same type of things. Is this a Latin word, or is it come from the Greek, or is it a Viking word originally? Maybe I'm asking. I don't think I really asked those questions, but I'm sure it may have sussed that kind of detail out
Yeah.
at some level.
I guess, for example, Tony, you will have
Mm.
more deeply information about, for example, your interesting topic
Mm,
which you
topics, yeah.
topics, yeah,
Mm,
which you want to find, yeah. But for
yeah, that
example,
sort of thing.
me, just only a bit of it information, and that's it, yeah,
Mm, yeah, how to use it in English, maybe, let's say, or how to pronounce it. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
But
it's
it is
mm.
from one side, it is a bit unfair, for example, I would say.
What makes it unfair, do you think? I might agree with you, but just to explain, what do you think makes it unfair?
Yeah, okay. I want to say, for example, one one will have more deeply about
Yeah.
his interestings. Yeah, but for example, another one he wants to know about it. Yeah, and he is not customized by AI. Yeah, in this topic and
Mm.
he will receive just only a little information, for example, of last news, for example, or something else, or probably I am mistaken in this. I'm not.
No, I think you raise a good point. Some people do talk about an echo chamber. Echo chamber. So the word chamber just means room, just means a kind of room, basically. So an echo means you get the same sound bouncing back. So if you're in a valley, you might call out your name, and a second later you can hear your own voice saying the same, you're saying your name again. So that's an echo. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
yeah, I
maybe
know, I
let's.
know, I know what this means.
So there's so believe it. Of course, this is. I think this is. This is an AI summary. This is probably an AI summary from Wikipedia, I think, isn't it? So in the context of news, so I've tapped in the word echo chamber. This is what it comes up with. In the context of news, media, and social media, an echo chamber is an environment or ecosystem in which participants, so you and me, participants, encounter beliefs that amplify or reinforce their pre-existing beliefs by communicating and repetition inside a closed system. So which is kind of an echo. So that's sort of what you're saying. So Google or anything knows exactly what you like to hear, and it's going to keep telling you the same kinds of things. So it won't challenge you to think outside the box or change your ideas. It will tend to, according to this, and I think this is true, keep on reinforcing what you've had before. But I assume over time it will change. I imagine. So this is the article in depth here. So an echo chamber, this is the summary here. An echo chamber is an environment where a person only encounters information that reflects and reinforces their own opinions. So you don't get anything new. You tend to get the same old stuff again and again. Okay.
Yeah, actually,
That's sort of what you're saying, I think, isn't it, really?
I think in some way they can use people by this, like don't give them more information and yeah, just will
Mm.
feed them the same information and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So was it? This hasn't happened recently, but when I've got a new laptop and Google doesn't have my previous ID because it's a new laptop, if I
Okay.
search, let's say I go onto YouTube, which is obviously owned by Google, the sort of stuff it gives me is very sort of low quality. It's kind of I find it sort of boring, and it's difficult to try and find something I'm interested in because Google or YouTube doesn't know what I like, and it says, "Oh, let's give him what most people like. Most people who are on YouTube or whatever it is like
Okay.
this."
Okay.
And eventually I think, "Oh, I'll search a few terms," and all of a sudden then it seems to get an idea of the kind of things I'm interested in. Oh, this person might be over 50 years old because he's not interested in pop music or something, let's say,
Yeah.
or certain musical artists where they seem to be interested in music from back in the 1940s or something or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And they get an idea of what you are and what the kind of person you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
They can recognize, yeah, for example, what you
mm,
like, what you want to
yes,
see, what you want to hear. Yeah, is for them it is very easy, and
very
then
easy.
they
Yeah,
uh, can offer you to read this one, yeah, and
yeah, yeah. You see different things coming through in your feed, don't you?
yeah, yeah,
I must say, I've made a point of not liking any videos on YouTube or subscribing. As far as I'm aware, I've not subscribed to any channels. And I don't think it makes a blind bit of difference. They still sort of suss out what kind of a person you are, and they still sort of, he watched this last time, so let's put, and he watched the whole thing, let's say, rather than the first 10 seconds. So he must like this. And it's interesting how they've obviously, I think they quickly suss out your sex, your gender. They suss that out within a probably first 10 seconds of being on there, probably. And within the first minute, I think they've got your age. Then they've probably got your mentality. And don't they
yeah,
say, don't they, wasn't there this business where a good few years ago there was a girl in America and the father of that girl, I believe, went in to complain. I can't think who he complained to now, but he complained that his 16-year-old daughter, or perhaps 15-year-old daughter, whatever it was getting lots of um, recommendations for baby baby equipment. And I think it must have been, I think it was for Target. So Target is a supermarket in America, and I think the supermarket was sending email suggestions and links for baby stuff because Target had worked out that she was pregnant without
right.
the daughter, I guess, telling the supermarket that she was pregnant. It had sussed out she was pregnant and was sending special offers to her for pregnancy stuff and or baby clothes, maybe, I don't know. And the dad went into the shop complaining. That's the situation. Yes, I remember what it was now. Only to find out that the target knew more than the dad did about his own daughter.
Yeah, I know about it, yeah, a bit. And you know what? One day we spoke with you about some device, something like this, yeah.
Hmm.
And after our lesson,
Oh yeah,
I searched my social media and about what we had spoken,
discussed. Hmm.
yeah, about what we had discussed, yeah.
Hmm.
Actually, this is product came up on my
Oh,
phone, yeah, and it's offer me to buy or to check or just yeah,
really?
like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little bit scary in a way, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I definitely search a word,
uh,
maybe at work or wherever it is, somewhere else, and on my I don't know, well, I can't remember exactly, and then Google, I start seeing other things in my feed that relate to it in a completely different location on another device, and I didn't think Google was aware I was in that other place. I didn't realize that Google was aware of that, but clearly it is. It's a little bit concerning. It's like an overlord. It looks over you and it can see what's happening in different parts of the world and it can relate them, put them together.
mm,
We're sort of losing our ability to be anonymous. We're being sort of we can't be
yeah,
anonymous anymore. That's what I think anyway. I haven't really thought about this, but so anyway, back to the article. We could talk about this forever,
yeah,
of course.
yeah, yeah.
So anything else
Mm,
here? I can't think what we said now. We're just looking, well, we're talking about the summary and the word customized.
yeah,
If it's
customize, I
customized, it's
understand,
sort of
yeah.
made especially for you, basically,
Yeah,
or they
especially for me,
changed
yeah.
it especially for you. That's it, yes. Is there anything else there?
When Tony, for example, when I say personalized, yeah,
Mm. Oh,
it's
yeah.
actually a bit different. Yeah, it's
Go on.
it's for example, uh, things which I like do. Yeah, what I like. Yeah, personalized. For example, I got too
Hmm.
used to it. Yeah, it's personalized. Yeah.
I'd be tempted to swap one for the other. Um,
It can be okay. It can be replaced. Yeah, customized,
so
personalized.
let's have a look. Person. Let's just try. So I was hoping it might come up with some synonyms, but it didn't. So person. Oh, my spelling. Oh dear. Personal. I think I've got it.
Yeah,
So let's search.
personalized,
So adapted. So
adapted.
adapted to personal requirements or tastes. It sort of sounds very similar. Customized. I suppose when you think of customized, it makes me think of a bit someone being a customer. So
Yeah, me,
I suppose there
me
is a
too, me too.
difference.
Yeah, me too.
Let's put this into, so if I say personalized v custom, I may have spelt that wrong. Let's have a look. So I put a V between the two, and hopefully, oh, here we go. So Tap Stitch has come up with this: personalized versus customized. Key differences. Confused between personalized and customized products. Discover the difference and choose smarter for your next product, gift, or store. I don't think that's going to help me really. I want a language website to look at it really. So it's interesting. There's no AI summary here, is there? It's just
Well,
this is when I
it's
wanted an
difficult.
AI summary. It won't give me one. So I spelled it with S's, but they want to put a Z in there. Difference between personalized and customized. So let's click on that maybe. Oh, here's a gap for a
Uh,
co-pilot research. So, but it's not filling it in, is it? So it might be my old laptop can't read what's there. I think that's a possibility. So before we delve into the distinction between personalized and customized products, let us differentiate between the words. To put it simply, personalized means adapting the experience to meet the user's preferences, whereas customization allows the user, it's the same meaning, really, I would say. I would say it means the
Uh,
same thing. The problem is I'm not really on a language website. It's about trying to sell me a product. So it's not really what I really want is a is Copilot to kick in. So let me just search that on Copilot. Let's persist. Let's maybe Copilot will come up with something here. So I've clicked on Copilot. Maybe it will. Oh, so I like an answer actually. Hit the plus button maybe. Yeah. So I'll ask the questions yet again. Again, I think it's my old laptop. It just isn't doing anything. I'm clicking away like a crazy thing. Nothing's happening.
Tanya,
Yeah,
I guess you are right. It is looks like the same. For example, I can say they personalized me or they customized me. It's
yeah,
actually like the same.
yeah. It's pretty much the same, but I don't think it makes a great deal of difference. That you
But
might want to use it in slightly different situations, I suppose.
yeah, but for example, Tony, I wouldn't say, for example, I I customize my lorry, but instead of this, I can say I personalized my lorry, for
Yeah, that
example.
does work better. Yeah, yes, you're right. Yes. Yeah, if you personalize it, it does. It just means that you. It sounds like you've just put like a little doll or something in the window of your lorry, and maybe you've got your a little, perhaps a flag from your home country hanging up
Yeah,
there, maybe. But customizing it just sounds a little bit more, just sounds a little bit different to that. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
If it's customized, it sounds like it's been done for you, I suppose. It sounds like maybe your
yeah.
boss did
Actually,
it,
yeah,
or the manufacturer of the lorry customized it for you, I suppose. And personalized, it sounds like you did it, I would guess, to be honest. Yeah, so I would say there is a little bit of difference in there, but it is not very not too obvious if you swap one for the other.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
But as we said, I suppose if it has the word custom in there, it sort of means there's someone who's giving someone else or someone else, something else a service.
Service. Yeah,
Whereas if it's
service.
personalized, it could be that you've done it for yourself, I guess, rather than someone else doing it to you. I suppose that might be the difference.
Yeah.
Or the
Okay.
but you're still getting something that you want. You want it done your way, and it's happening for you. However it happens, sort of thing. Someone else does it, or you do it, I guess. Okay, so let's press on then. I think we've done this to death. These seem to be like some little adverts here, and a big advert now, and a little video. Nothing to do with what we're watching, I think. Can I stop this video? There we go. I've stopped the video. Maybe we'll end here, I guess, because we've been on for more than an hour now.
Yeah. Okay.
So you read the last bits, so maybe I'll read this one and then you can ask a few questions. So I'll read this bit
Okay.
from there to there. Okay,
Okay.
so this marks a new era for AI search, according to a Google blog post, bringing advanced model capabilities and new AI features to search. The update will allow users to deploy AI agents just by asking a question. The company is also introducing a new intelligent AI-powered search box which it describes as Google's biggest upgrade in over 25 years. I see a lot of these little bits are quotes, and presumably these quotes come from the blog or the blog post. So I'll carry on from here to there. So crucially, the shift means that search will become more conversational and personalized, reducing the need to click through to web pages. Increasingly, Google will function more like an assistant than a traditional index of third-party information providers. Okay.
Yeah,
So really, I think this is it's restating what we've just learned, I would say, or just read about.
yeah, yeah, it's like
Anything there that's,
restating.
yeah, anything there that you want to go over? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like ask where is it? Uh, yeah, to deploy will allows users to deploy AI agents.
Hmm.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
about the meaning of deploy.
Um, put into use, put into use, deploy,
Okay.
put into use, basically, or to. So the update will allow users to start using, in this case, put into use, start using AI agents just by asking a question,
Okay, okay.
put into use, basically,
Put into use.
or
Okay,
make it open for us to use, I guess.
okay.
But you might say, for some reason, I keep thinking of war examples. So, in a battle, one side might deploy a certain kind of tactic, or they might deploy artillery, or they might deploy something else in a battle or something. I suppose in war that word does get used quite a bit.
Like I use different tactic to fight, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. So they used a certain tactic like ambush. So one side is going to deploy ambush, another side deploys another sort of technique. So I can't see. I suppose it could be in business. So here we go. So the very first possibility it comes up with is deploy a helicopter, which could be wartime, I suppose, based. Then it says deploy a resource, deploy a satellite, deploy a tact, or beg your pardon, a unit, deploy abroad. So you might send someone abroad. So deploy the workers abroad, deploy an aircraft. So deploy an argument. So that's a sort of like a type of argument, you might say. And the very last one is deploy an army. So there's a sort of a military sort of feel here, isn't there? So tactic, helicopter, unit, army. But sort of
It's like
business and war.
use something in better way,
Yeah.
yeah? For example.
Yeah, just use it really. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean better, but
Ah,
just use
yeah,
it.
just use it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it probably comes from there's the word employ. It's probably related to employ. So
Employ,
employ sort of
okay.
means use. So let's employ a helicopter to get the people from there to there.
Yeah, yeah,
Employ.
okay.
So it just means use. Another way of saying use, really. So interestingly, so we've got the word deploy, and as a synonym, it says use
Yeah,
as the very
use.
first synonym, or station. Yeah. So you
Set
might
up. Yeah,
station your troops in a certain place or deploy your troops in a certain place. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, okay. Noise.
So it says here, mobile apps are another weapon. So it's another war thing, isn't it? So mobile apps are another weapon to be deployed by online retailers in the battle for business. So it does seem to be like a much more of a sort of a fighting or business sort of use for the word deploy, I think, isn't there?
Yeah, when we say battle, it is like a fight, yeah, like a
Mm.
competition.
Yeah, I suppose if it's a business, it's like a competition, very much so. That's exactly it, yes. So you could say the supermarkets are in a battle to get
Yeah,
customers pounds or dollars or whatever.
yeah, yeah. They
So they
are
go
in a
into their
battle
shops
for
and
the
stuff.
customer, yeah.
Yeah, that's it, yes. That's it.
Okay.
And just to find it, there's an example here. It says, using the word deploy, airbags deploy with such force they could easily injure a small child. So that's airbags inside a car, and they go off or they deploy, they get used in a car crash, don't they? Airbags. They stop you hitting
Um,
the windscreen at high speed in a car crash, don't they? That's an
yeah,
airbag.
okay.
Yes. Okay, so let's go back to our article. So it's only a verb, I think, deploy. I think it is. Anything else?
Mm, okay. And
Hmm.
about function, will function,
Hmm.
it's like using as well, no?
Yeah, not
Function.
yeah, pretty much, but I'd say work.
Ah,
So
work.
if they say function, so this works or this functions in such and such a way. So this works in such and such a way. Something like that. So where is the word function? Is it?
Yeah, exactly, exactly where
Oh,
is
there. Oh,
in
I see. I
here.
didn't see it there. Yeah, you're right. So
Yeah.
So Google will work more like an assistant than a traditional index of third-party information providers. So work, you could say,
Yeah.
function.
How about index and of third-party information provider?
So an index normally is a list of things, really, normally in alphabetical order, possibly, or numerical order. So a list of things is an index.
Ah, okay, list.
In a book you have an index, often, not always, but often at the back of a book you have an index, so it lists all the words and it says what pages that those words
Mm,
occur on.
okay, okay,
A
okay.
storybook wouldn't have it, but I suppose a reference book, something, a textbook, a book you're reading about mathematics might have an index at the back, let's say, and lots of books have indexes. At the front of a book, you have the content normally, and it sort of lists the chapters. So the first chapter might be on numbers, the second chapter might be on some other mathematical idea, and so on and so on. So you then said third party. So index of third party information providers. So when you say the third party, you mean basically another way of looking at it is so it's not me, I'm not the third party, and it can't be you. You won't be the third party, Ruslan. It's somebody else. So we're talking about some unknown person basically, or some sort of other company maybe. When you say
Yeah,
third party, that's what you mean. So it's not me or you. It's like the let's say I'm the first person, you're the second person,
yeah,
and the
yeah,
third
okay.
person is just some unknown party, unknown person or party. And I think when it's the third person, you use the word whom, don't you? I think. Well, I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah, yeah, okay.
information providers. Okay. Sometimes we talk about the third world. Have you heard of the idea of the third world?
Yeah, it's actually, I know,
Hmm.
for example, some countries who are not in Europe, yeah, they called like third third countries,
Hmm.
yeah, and it's
I've
actually
not
the
heard
same
I've
idea.
not heard the phrase third countries, but a lot of the time people do say the third world. Perhaps not so much as they do nowadays. Third world. Yeah. So, so when they say, let's actually search that. So, third world. Often it means, or it can mean, the undeveloped world, the world that isn't
Yeah,
very well developed. So you could say Europe and America are very highly developed third world countries. So, well, there's meaning there. Perhaps I should have clicked on meaning. So, third world countries are nations historically considered politically non-aligned. Oh, that's interesting. During the Cold War, which is exactly spot on true, actually. Now commonly referred to as developing or low-income countries with lower standards of living and limited industrialization. So that can actually be a good thing to have limited industrialization.
yeah,
It's not necessarily bad, and they have it mainly aimed at Africa here. I'm not quite sure where that is, but and a few places. So that's the meaning of third world, which they're saying is now really referred to mainly as developing. That's true,
yeah.
actually, developing countries, they will say now. Some people regard that as a little bit of an insult to say third world, so it's probably better to say developing.
Yeah, but in a time, everything can change. Yeah, and for example,
Yes, absolutely.
some strong country can be as well short word. Yeah, if they
Mm,
don't care about their economy or
mm,
like these things.
mm,
I guess yeah, it depends who who is in charge of the country first,
mm,
and corruption as well, and which economy in a country, and what they are produce, and where they are selling it. Yeah,
mm.
like these things.
That's interesting. Yeah, very true, I think, yes. Um, Venezuela is a nation that's struggling at the moment. Venezuela's famously recently had their president, I was going to say kidnapped, but let's say arrested by America and taken to the US because Donald Trump kind of authorized it, and he's been arrested and is going to presumably face trial. And it's
Yeah,
basically left the deputy, his deputy, to take over the running of the country. It was I can't think of the lady's name, but she's taken over, and she kind of hasn't really got a choice. Really, she's sort of going along, I think, with Donald Trump's sort of encourage her sort of his direction, I should say. But many years ago, Venezuela was incredibly wealthy because it has so much oil and it's a relatively small country. All that money was concentrated in sort of such a small country. It became very, very wealthy. But at the same
yeah,
time,
yeah,
it's as just as you were saying, it did seem to corrupt it at the same time as well. And so it sort of it just it ate it. The country ate itself. But there's more to life than money, so it's not everything. So just
yeah.
having lots of
True.
money is, it can be a sort of a bit of a curse having lots of money.
A bit
Or,
of
or at
a
least yeah, carry on.
curse. You said like a
Yeah, um, yeah, having lots of money or too much money can be I keep spelling words wrongly. Curse. So if you swear, you could say that's a curse. If you say bloody hell, you could call
oh,
that a curse. A swear word can also be a curse.
uh, okay,
But
okay.
but but also, I might try to put a curse on you or someone else. Say, I hate you so much, I put a curse on you. So whenever you do this, something bad is going to happen to you, and that's a curse sort of a thing.
Yeah,
And
okay,
sometimes in
okay.
a film, you see someone being put under a curse in a horror movie.
Yeah, curse. Yeah, it's like
Curse, curse.
curse.
So you
Yeah,
could say the curse of having too
too much money. Yeah,
much money or too many resources sometimes, or something like that. So if you have lots of money, it makes you a bit lazy maybe because you don't really have to do anything and you just go out drinking all the time, or you go out with lots of women who are very attracted to you because you have lots of money, and it's not very good for your life in a way, is it? It tends to ruin us. I think that sort of thing happens
yeah.
when things are
It
too
is.
easy, when we have too much money, and it makes life too easy. We've got nothing to fight against. We get lazy.
Yeah,
It
it's
ruins
absolutely
us.
true.
It ruins us, or it can ruin us. I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, and money can easily run out from your pocket if you if you
Yeah, you can
waste
guarantee.
them unwillingly,
Unaware, how you
unaware,
say?
unaware. Yeah, if you
I said thoughtlessly. Thoughtlessly might work better. So
yeah,
thoughtlessly doing something.
thoughtlessly, yeah, thoughtlessly.
Yes. So there's a little saying here: a fool and his money are quickly sep. That's meant to be separated. So is that right? Separated. I think that's separated, isn't it?
Yeah,
A
separated.
fool and his money are quickly separated. That's quite a clever little saying. So if you're foolish and you have lots of money, there'll be
Yeah.
someone to come along and take it off of you. So because you get separated from your money. In other words, they get you to spend it or give it to them, or they steal it maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but actually, in to my mind, for
Yeah,
example, if someone was able to earn a lot of money in some period of time, yeah, he is not stupid. I think, yeah, he just can
true.
be addicted by narcotic, by something else,
Or
and
drink, or too
on
much
drinking.
fun.
Yeah, and it can ruin them. Yeah, but if he uh, thinks, yeah, that, for example, it is not easy to have a big money. Yeah,
Or lots of
I
money, lots of money.
a lot of money. I guess like this, people will will never live in these bad ways of life.
If we don't
Like,
have too much money, you mean?
I mean, if someone knows how to make a big money, yeah,
Hmm.
and to my mind it require a good knowledge, and like these people who earned money by his hands, not by from
Hmm.
parents hands, from the
Yes.
another, yeah, they will not be tempted to live like a bad lifestyle
Hmm.
life.
Yeah.
It's probably, yeah.
Yeah. So
I can't.
if you worked hard for the money,
Yeah,
you sort of respect it. You respect the
yeah,
difficulty, or the how hard you had to work to get the money in the first place. So you look after it, I think you're saying. Is that what you're saying? You
yeah,
think?
yeah. I
Yeah.
wanted
It
to
gives you
say,
respect for the how difficult it is to get money, or can be
yeah,
difficult. Whereas if it's just you're someone died and you inherited £1 million or
Yeah,
$1 million, you tend
it's a
not to
bit
respect
different, I
it. Yeah.
think.
So it's a bit like, say, winning the lottery or
Yeah,
something like that. You suddenly have a lot of money come along and you tend not to respect it. It's sort of that's a situation where might tend to ruin you a little bit or a lot
yeah,
bit.
yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
But it's not all the time, yeah, but it can be, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, very, yes. Life is here to teach us lessons.
Mhm. Yeah.
So do you want to read a little bit more or shall we do that last bit there maybe?
Yeah, if
Call
you
it a
have a
day?
time and yeah, yeah, we
Okay,
can read a bit, yeah.
okay. I've read the upper bit, so you read the bit below then.
Okay.
Radical transformation. Over to
Mm.
you.
A radical transformation. For many people, Google's search box is the Lodi of the internet, said Time. So this radical transformation signals a major shift in how people use the web. It could disrupt many industries that rely on search traffic to attract customers with news publishers and small businesses particularly vul- 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 vulnerable. The changes will likely further decimate refers from Google to publishers which have already been suffering from declining referrals, referrals
Hmm.
because of AI overviews, said Tech Charge, Tech Crunch. The trend has already put some ad-dependent media operation out of business, and now things will like get worse.
Mm. Yes, nice. Very nice.
Not really, not really.
No, I
Mm,
got the meaning from that. That was good enough. I got the meaning from that.
uh,
So anything you want to ask about that little bit there?
uh, yeah, about a Lodi of internet lobby. Yeah,
Ah, yes. Yeah, that's it. The last time you said it was spot on. So that's lobby. Lobby.
lobby. Okay. And it is
So
about what?
so no, normally so lobby of the internet is a strange sort of phrasery, but normally the word lobby means the entrance. So every building pretty much has an entrance of some sort. And often when it's a public building, say like a library, when you come into, say, a library or a big public building, there's sort of an open area where you can sort of look around a little bit. Maybe you see other people wandering around. So that's a
Okay.
lobby. It's a big sort of open area just at the entrance, just after you enter a building normally. So, but here
Okay.
they're saying the lobby of the internet is Google, I think is what they're saying. Or the search box anyway, is the lobby of the internet. So it's like the entrance, really, the word entrance, you could say.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like a hole. No, no, it's some space. Not.
So
Uh,
really, lobby, there's a couple, two or three different ways of using the word, but for the most part, it's that place where when you go into a building, you go through the doors, it's that welcoming place at the entrance somewhere where you stand for a
okay.
moment, see where you want to go. Oh, I want to
Okay.
go to the second floor, or I want to see
Okay.
somebody in reception, or I want to go into the basement or something, or where's the cinema, or where are the shops. So if you go
Okay.
into, yeah,
Yeah, I got it.
it's
Yeah,
the
I got
place
it.
just after the doors, basically, in a building. But homes don't really have a lobby. It's normally the public buildings. where lots of people go,
Yeah, yeah, in a
an
public,
open
yeah,
space normally
open space.
inside a building. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Disrupt, it's like
yeah,
disrupt.
yeah.
It's like a block, yeah?
A bloke,
Block,
a block,
block,
block.
yeah.
Um, so another word might be disturb, mess around with, change. So if I'm asleep and you come into my bedroom and you suddenly shake me,
Huh.
you could say, you disturbed my sleep. You woke me up, you disturbed my sleep.
Okay,
Oh, sorry,
okay.
sorry, this is disrupt. So, sorry, okay, not so much this, but the same idea. So if you disrupt something, you're changing it, perhaps in a slightly, maybe even unnecessarily violent way. Disrupt.
Disrupt.
So if you go
But
in, you might disrupt a meeting. If say perhaps I'm having a meeting, they're discussing something. If you go in to disrupt it, you go in, you stand up there and you shout something or you throw something, some papers up into the air. That would disrupt the meeting.
yeah,
Does that make
but Tony,
sense?
for example,
Yeah.
I can say, for example, sorry to my interruption. Yeah, but I
Yes.
can't say sorry to my disruption.
Yeah.
Uh,
You wouldn't really say that. Yeah. So I said disrupt a meeting. Here we go here. So disrupt a meeting. So, but lots of things can be disrupted. Anything can be
Yeah,
disrupted.
but interrupt, it is like the same idea a bit, no?
So I suppose interrupt and disturb, there is the same idea there, but if you just disrupt it, it sounds a bit more aggressive. It's a little bit more
Ah,
aggressive than disturb or interrupt. Disrupt is definitely a little bit more
yeah,
forceful,
it's
bit more
like
forceful. It doesn't have to
rude.
be violent. It doesn't have to be violent, but yeah, it sounds a bit more forceful, I should say.
Yeah, it's a rude or a rude way, yeah, to behave.
Yeah, you don't do this lightly. Yeah, I mean, it does happen. So if someone gets angry about something, particularly in a meeting, perhaps something bad has been decided, and the person then says, "I will not accept this." So they stand up and they throw their papers in the air or something. That
Yeah.
definitely would disrupt it, but the action will still probably carry on, you know.
Tony, if something happened by mistake, it as well disrupt, yeah? It
Uh,
disrupt me when
it
you,
might be a disruption,
it
yes.
might be as
It
well.
might be. It doesn't, yeah. So, I'll say this is. So I just looked up the word disrupt a market. So it's got some. So nowadays we often talk about disrupting a market, and Google doing what they're doing, sort of bringing this AI, new AI approach into their search. You could say that's disrupting their or a market. So this, let's quickly read this phrase maybe. So this is what the Sunday Times said about using that particular phrase. So it might not be, it may be something completely different, but it just happens to use that phrase. So it says, she would also like to see startups disrupting the market. So it says startups, that's normally talking about small new businesses. That's often what
Okay.
happens with a small business.
Mm.
Oh, I brought up the reference there. So let's read the next one. So territorial reductions, that seems a bit confusing. Let's go to the next one. So disrupting the market relies on eradication, interdiction, and domestic law enforcement efforts. So it's a bit hard to understand that one, isn't it? So well, let's just read disrupt then. So if someone or something disrupts an event, system, or process, they cause difficulties that prevent it from continuing or operating in a normal way. Yeah, that's pretty good. But it may be very easy to get around the disruption or it may not be. We don't know how easy or how hard it is to get around or sort out the disruption.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop it from working in a normal way. That's it. So that's what Google is doing. They're stopping the market working the normal way. Anything else there? I could hear you saying something, but I couldn't really hear anything that you
Yeah, yeah,
said.
yeah. Tony, now I just say, uh, how would
Mm.
say, I'm coming quickly across, just like to find the
You're
words which
checking. You're
is
just checking the
checking.
passage.
Yeah, checking. Yeah, yeah,
Look for anything.
yeah. I guess, yeah, probably there is no one new for me.
Okay. So, what about the word decimate? We've mentioned it a couple of times at the beginning as well, I think. What does decimate mean then?
Yeah, decimate, it is like we can say in some way disrupt. Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty much there, I'd say.
decimate.
Yeah, decimate, yes.
It is like a ruin. Yeah, like a
Yes,
ruin.
it's more like, yeah, ruin or called
Ruin.
ruination maybe, to destroy something. Yeah, that's right.
Decimate.
Or
Yeah.
or quite heavily destroy something. So not completely destroying it, but quite heavily. Quite a lot of destruction if something's
Yeah, yeah.
decimated.
Ruin, destroyed. Yeah.
So how about these couple of words here? So what does that refer to, do you think? Or so if I read
D.
that whole quote to you,
Okay.
so the whole
Okay.
quote says, already suffering from declining referrals. So already been suffering from declining
Oh,
referrals.
okay. Suffering. It is look like
Mm.
people.
Yeah.
Uh, people. Uh, People experience some trouble with something else, yeah, and it brings them. Uh, it brings them unhappiness. Can I say like this?
You're guessing now, I think, aren't you? Well, it's good to guess. Good to guess.
And
So I
the
don't really see it as people. So I think it's talking about the publishers again. So they are people in a sense, I guess, but it's more a business. So the publishers might be newspapers, or
yeah,
it
okay,
might be people that make websites that we might visit. I don't know which
yeah,
ones it might
yeah,
be.
yeah.
Anything
It's
might be Amazon,
actually
I suppose, or
it's
something.
actually true. It's about website which are
Yes,
now
they
being
are suffering.
they are suffering. Yeah, they are experience a bad time. Yeah, we can say like this.
Mm. But being specific, what they're actually suffering, it says here, is declining.
Declining. Yeah, declining. It is
So
when
less, yeah,
yeah, you know what? Declining, it is
hmm
like a very simple example. Yeah, when country
yeah,
don't grow up, yeah, they just opposite going down and down economic
yes,
every time less and less.
mm, yeah, that's
And
it. Yes.
yeah,
So you can say a country is declining. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Perhaps
yeah,
something bad is happening and things are going wrong, and so the country is declining. That's it, in some
yeah.
way or other. But here it's these publishers are declining, and the particular thing that's declining for them is the referrals. So do you know what the word referrals means? So in general, referrals,
Refers. It's like
referrals. Hmm
the main source, yeah.
Yeah, that's the overall meaning, I think, of that sort of that sentence, I think, isn't it? Yeah, that's the meaning on the whole, I would say. So I get rid of the S, I put it in the dictionary, so referral.
Mm.
So I tried to explain this earlier on, but I was rather poor at explaining it. So perhaps I should have said. So me, I'm not sure this is going to help too much, but a referral is the act of officially sending someone to a person or authority that is qualified to deal with them. A referral is an instance of this. So that wasn't very clear, was it? So the way they're talking about it here is that if you go to the doctor, he may refer you to another doctor who specializes in whatever is wrong with you, maybe. If you've got a broken leg and you
Yeah.
go to your local GP, he won't be able to do very much about it. So he almost has to refer you or give you a referral to some other doctor, possibly.
Mm, okay, it's like, yeah,
So you're being passed on to something else. Does that make
yeah,
sense? So you've
yeah.
seen
I've
one
been
person
passed
and he's
to the
passing you to
someone
somebody
else.
else.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the same idea that's happening here. If I go back to the passage, so these publishers are getting declining referrals from Google. So Google is no longer sending people to the publishers anymore. Well, not so
Oh,
many, I should say. So
okay.
Google is not referring people to the publishers in the same way they were. So the BBC aren't getting as many hits because Google has all the answers. They put it up in the AI summary at the top. And so they don't need to go to the BBC or Amazon or some newspaper website or wherever else it might be because Google's already had the answer.
Yeah, it's mean Google straight away give gives information about my request
Yes.
without letting me to go to the
Yeah.
official publisher. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. The original republisher.
yeah, the
And
original.
it's basically you said that at the very beginning, and so this is the same idea
Yeah, the same idea.
circling here all the time, isn't it? So we just said it in different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's the meaning of referrals, though. That's the particular
And
word they tend to use. So
but
if you have a referral, it's being
yeah,
handed from one person to another because the first one doesn't know how to deal with it or is only sort of there to give you information or something.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And websites live for referrals. So all sorts of businesses need referrals. That's what they live on, sort of thing. And Google's not giving it anymore. Okay, so let's stop it there then. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we're never
yeah,
going to end. We've been almost two
yeah,
hours, I think, at this.
yeah. It's
S-
a bit more, yeah, already
And
more.
we've
Yeah,
only done half the article, so
yeah.
this chap Chas Newkey-Burden was the author. He did a very good job. But having said that, haven't we had this story before? So
Not
about
really.
a year or two ago, not that we've read it before, but this is old news in a way, isn't it?
Mm,
I'm sure I heard
I
this
don't.
18
I
months
don't
ago.
think
Oh,
so
okay.
actually. Yeah, because this information for me it is new.
Oh, okay. But you're well aware that recently, in the last year, maybe that if I
Yeah.
click on one of these words up here, say like Venezuela, you get this AI summary now. We never used to
Yeah.
have this AI summary. But
Y-
what that
uh,
article is saying is we're just about only going to get this AI summary, they seem to be saying. Maybe I've misunderstood it, but
No, no, no. Actually, yeah, you said true that a couple years ago, actually, we
hmm,
uh, did not have like this
yeah, yeah, that's it.
summary of AI. Yeah, it's new. It's new. Yeah, yeah. But as we understood of this article, that we want to see completely the link. Yeah, we just will have the
Hmm,
conversation with the AI and the summary, and
hmm,
yeah, like this. It can be a completely different website.
yeah. So it feels a little bit like Google is stealing all of the
Yes.
information from these other websites, keeping it almost secret. It isn't actually secret, and then just pretending as if it's them who's giving it to you. That's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
entirely true because if I could click on this read more, it does give little, very, very small little links saying where the information comes from. But they're so small, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would miss that they are there. So it's a bit naughty.
Yeah, it's a bit naughty, and I would say it's actually bad for the income
Yeah.
to publisher
Yeah, yeah.
because they will have less income.
Mm. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So with Wikipedia, sometimes when I click on Wikipedia, it says, "Oh, would you like to donate some money?" But if I don't click on it anymore, I'm never going to get that message saying, "Would you like to donate some money?" And I'm probably never will do it again as a result of that because I
You
never
know
click on
what,
it.
Tony? I actually a bit aware how they earn money
Mm,
because everything depends how many times you spend on this site and
mm,
how many uh, meters, kilobyte you spend on this
mm.
size, you
Yeah.
know. And if you spend there 1 hour, they calculate that you was there 1 hour and you spent, for example, some amount of of your internet on this website,
Mm.
and it's automatically they will earn money because of you of someone else.
I think that's very close. Yeah, that's basically how it works, isn't it? For most websites that have adverts on the website, don't they? Like when you click on YouTube, there's a constant flow of adverts on there, isn't there? But with Wikipedia, they don't have any adverts, do they? At least I've not seen any adverts on there. So I think the only way Wikipedia makes money is if we donate it, and that's not really making
Mm.
money. It's just paying for it. So maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see any adverts on, say, this page here. Maybe it's just me, of course, but I don't see any adverts here. So there are some pages, such as the BBC. I'm in the UK, and that means I don't get any adverts on the BBC websites when I click on them, along with this one. And there are a few others. There's no ads, so there's no adverts here at all, is there? It's a
Yeah, but
huge page, isn't
mm,
it? And it's the same with the BBC. If as I'm in the UK, I don't get any adverts with the BBC, as I keep saying. But if I was outside the UK, if I lived in, say, America, and I clicked on the BBC website, there would be some adverts then. But that's the way that one works, but not with Wikipedia. So there's a donate button at the top up here, isn't there? Donate.
yeah, donate, yeah,
Yeah.
create an account, yeah. Hmm. But
So they don't make any money from clicks at all, as I understand it anyway. So maybe there's details. I'm just lots of details I don't know, I'm sure.
hmm,
But you're right. 90% of websites, 95% of websites need you to pay something. And the other one, of course, is The Guardian. Oh, I've got a link here. I thought I might have had a link to the Guardian website.
for
So
example,
certain,
Tony,
yeah, go on.
how about internet date, mobile date, or for example, date usage? You
Oh,
spend,
data usage.
yeah,
Yes.
date usage. I mean, for example, you paid every month money for your internet, and
Mm,
you have, for example, base limit, yeah, or you have, for example, 2 terabyte of internet,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
for example, and when you stay in one particular website,
Hmm.
it actually charge you by the mobile date, and And
Data,
this
yeah.
your mobile date uh, straight away go to the owner of the website and have your mobile date
Mm.
and in this way I guess they earn money as well.
Um, I'm on a laptop here,
Yeah.
so I don't really know, and I think maybe you're referring to a mobile phone. I don't really know exactly how it works on a mobile phone. It might just be that is what you're saying is the case. But on this website here, I think the only way they make money is maybe this thing here. I'm assuming this is some sort of an advert in the middle, or at
Uh,
least you have to pay for it. I guess. I don't really know.
I I think Tony,
Go on.
we can make, for example, our next lesson a bit about it, how the website make money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit like sort of say WhatsApp. For
Or not,
years and years and years, no one knew how WhatsApp made any money. But of course, it turns out it doesn't really make any money for all those years. But just recently, the last year or so, they're going to start putting adverts on there or something, I think, on WhatsApp. I don't have WhatsApp. I've never used it.
there is as well like a video call and
Mm,
some conversation, there is possible to create some
conference? Yes.
conference, yeah.
Yeah, conference.
And
Yes.
probably it's and there is as well some groups you
Yeah,
can
group
follow, you can
chats. Yeah. Yes.
subscribe, yeah.
Yes.
I guess it
Yeah, but
actually, yeah.
until recently, no one knew how WhatsApp made its money, and we think now that they didn't make any money. It was really about being a service, so they
Mm,
attracted lots of people, millions in their millions, and now that it's got millions of people using it, it's very hard for them to give it up because it's
mm,
a very useful service. And my understanding
yeah,
is that WhatsApp wants to start putting adverts. Maybe they've already started. I don't know. That's my
yeah.
understanding anyway. It's a
But,
little bit like Facebook. When Facebook first started, it lost millions of dollars and then even perhaps even billions of dollars. But when they got, a large, absolutely huge numbers of people using it, then they thought, well, now that they're addicted to it or such heavy users, now we can start making money by putting in products they can
yeah,
sell to people. So there's sometimes a very long period when it comes over as a very useful service and it doesn't seem to make any money. And once they get people, a very large number of people using it, then they gradually introduce the adverts. That's the sort
yeah,
of the classic sort of approach to doing it. And there is this other idea called, have you heard of the idea of platform collapse? Let's just search that phrase maybe.
a lot.
Platform.
You,
Yeah, it sounds pretty bad, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Platform. Have I spelled it correctly? I think I have for a change. Yes, collapse. So so platform collapse has have resulted in tragic. No, they think like it's some sort of a stand has collapsed. Platform collapse. If I say internet, maybe platform internet. So there's another word for this. It's called. This is a bit surprising. N-shitification. I put that one there. So N shit. I was hoping it's going to come up for me. Oh, there it is down there. See it there? N-shitification. So it's got the word shit. So the word shit is a bad thing, isn't it? Or something you don't really want.
yeah, okay,
So it's sort of a made up, very much a made up word. So so it's based about things getting worse. So systemic degradation of digital platforms over time. So what they're sort of saying is that just that title very quickly, it's sort of basically saying things start out very good. Once people get addicted to it or just use it very heavily, it then gets slightly worse and worse and worse and worse, and then the adverts start to take over. And there's so many people using it that no one can stop using it because all their friends are using it, and they get left out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's this word enshittification that was made up by this guy here,
Investigate.
but the other phrase is platform collapse. But that's the polite phrase, platform collapse. But basically, it's the same meaning as enshittification.
Hmm.
There's probably so it's just so it's basically the way that platforms entrap people into a new way, a new thing, sort of thing. So just exactly as I just said with Facebook, they started out with a really, really good product. When they
Yeah,
found many, well, let's say billions of people were using it, certainly millions, they suddenly realized, oh, we don't have to have such a good quality product anymore. We can lower the quality a little bit, perhaps even quite a lot, and just pump lots of adverts in. So that's part of.
yeah,
Do you know,
but
perhaps we'll read this thing. It says a Guardian article here made a year or last year. So way past its prime. If something's past its prime, it means it's got starting to get bad, or it's not as good as it used to be. What's what will that phrase mean? Way past its prime. That's what that phrase means. So way past its prime. How did Amazon get so rubbish? So this is sort of saying that Amazon was a lot better in the past, and now that everyone's using it and no one knows anything different, it's gone downhill. It's got worse, and they're sort
yeah,
of treating us like idiots in a sense, I guess. So maybe read this article next Monday, maybe.
yeah, it's actually a good idea.
I just clicked on it. So it's 7 months old, it says here, the article. So this is again, this is the Guardian asking me to give them money because there's no adverts on the Guardian website. So perhaps I should give them some
It's
money. So so
mhm.
so I'll just get rid of that maybe later. Oh, so that's funny. So they've got the Amazon symbol upside down, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a smile. It's sort of an
Yeah,
unhappy
it's up,
grimace.
down. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
up, down. Yeah,
upside down. So we call that
upside
a
down.
grimace. I think a grimace. That's the opposite of a smile. Yeah, and it's got the word enshittification in it there. So
Insification. Yeah,
so enshittification.
ah,
Oh, yeah,
inshitification.
yeah, because it's got an F in there, so it's enshittification. But down here, it's a slightly different word, but same meaning, really. I can't even pronounce it. So enshittening, yeah.
Ah,
En,
inshittening.
this is a recent word, recently made up in the last few years, last 10 years, I guess.
Hmm.
Oh, 2022, it says there.
Oh,
I didn't realize that. I thought it was a bit older, but there we go. So we'll probably read this one maybe next week, maybe. So Monday it's bank holiday.
yeah.
So if you want to go out be busy in the garden or go to the garden centre or visit somewhere exciting, it's okay. You don't have to come to class on Monday as it is bank holiday.
Yeah,
So
but
let's end
actually,
it there. Otherwise,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
never ever going to end at this
yeah,
rate.
yeah, yeah.
So let's stop the recording.